After talking about the weird realm of late night TV, I still have so many more memories floating around inside my head, so let's take a look at another bizarre aspect of the early 2000s TV landscape: lost TV channels. And by lost, I mean TV channels that simply don't exist anymore and have long since vanished into the next dimension. These are channels that not everyone might remember, but have a strange place in my memory banks, so here are my dusty thoughts from the world of lost TV channels. We'll start with good old-fashioned cartoons. Nickelodeon was obviously a juggernaut of kids' TV back in the day, and they had a ton of spin-off channels, like Nicktoons of course, which, as the name might suggest, focused only on Nickelodeon cartoons. But for a short period in 2008, there was a spin-off channel of Nicktoons called Nicktoonsters, basically making it a spin-off of a spin-off.
Nickelodeon brings you Nicktoonsters! Wow! A brand new channel for people just like you!
Launched in August 2008, this channel was dedicated to classic Nick cartoons, such as Rugrats, Hey Arnold, and the Angry Beavers. There's one for the purists. I remember seeing promos for this channel and thinking it was a pretty cool idea, since, even as a kid, I was a big fan of nostalgic content.
It's a place where you can hang out with all your friends, and make new ones, and all you do is have fun.
But the problem was that splitting old content and new content between two different channels meant that, well, the output was cut in half. So it always felt like Nicktoonsters didn't have that much to show, and the schedule completely dried up. In its dying days, I think it was downgraded to just showing Hey Arnold for most of the day, and frankly, there's only so much Arnold I can take. In the end, Nicktoonsters didn't even survive a single year, closing down in July 2009 after only 11 months of operation. It came and went pretty quickly, so it's probably only TV nutcases like me who can recall a thing about it. I doubt Nickelodeon even remembers it. What a blip in time. Let's talk about localization. Some of you may have noticed that depending on your region, BBC and ITV might show different programs at certain times depending on where you live, or even some unique presentation altogether. In fact, ITV used to be completely regional way back when. I mean, ITV was always called HTV when I was younger, which is the kind of home cooking I personally miss. But for the better part of a decade in the early 2000s, BBC Two in Wales used to change into a completely different channel for a few hours, BBC 2W, which launched in November 2001.
Good evening and welcome to BBC 2W, the start of a new era in Welsh broadcasting.
I guess the idea was meant to showcase more local programming for Welsh audiences, but I used to hate it. As a kid, I felt jealous of anyone living outside Wales. In my mind, while everyone else got to watch cool normal BBC Two with the amazing robot idents, we had to put up with these sloppy seconds. While it existed, they even changed the name to BBC 2W on the Sky Guide, so it just drove me crazy back then. I get it now, of course, but it's still an amusing memory to me, like one of those pet hates that simply doesn't matter anymore. BBC 2W ended up closing down in January 2009, and ironically, now it's something I miss. Another quirk of British telly is the UK TV channels. This was a group of TV channels dedicated to showing mainly repeats based on various subjects: UK TV Gold for comedy, UK TV Gardens for planting your posies, and whoever came up with UK TV Bright Ideas probably didn't have much inspiration. But for me, the most memorable of these channels was a curious one called UK Horizons. Named after a science show on the BBC, this channel launched in November 1997, mainly as a hub for showing a lot of documentaries. But the only thing I cared about is that they used to show repeats of Robot Wars. This is how I had to get my fix for the classic era of the show, like the first series when it was hosted by Jeremy Clarkson.
Britain is about to witness the birth of Robot Wars, which is all about robots fighting.
Only the true fans will get that. I used to watch this channel a lot, and honestly, UK Horizons was just a fun name to say, sort of unusual and special. I didn't really know what it meant, but the channel ended up closing down in March 2004 to make way for UK TV documentary, minus the Robot Wars repeats, so it's no wonder I gave up on watching. While I'm not a mainstream sports person, it's amazing how the world of sports will just flow through your entire family. It didn't matter if it was my dad or my grandparents. Someone somewhere would always be watching a football match on TV. Everyone knows Sky Sports, of course, and let's not forget Eurosport, which always seemed to be on at my nan's house.
Eurogoals, Monday at 2100 on Eurosport.
It was boring, but I kind of liked it, so work that one out. I guess I have this odd relationship where I have nostalgia for the presentation of these channels, despite not engaging with the actual sports at the time. But one brief fad that took hold in 2002 was Setanta Sports. Created as a rival sports package to Sky, I remember this being massively popular at the time, especially around 2006-2007, where everyone in my grandparents' house would crowd around to watch people kicking a ball across a bit of grass. I was usually in the other room, watching robots tear each other apart instead. It's amazing how the popularity of these channels has just melted away into obscurity. Even when I go on holiday to Spain or something, they'd always be showing these channels on huge screens in pubs and stuff. It felt like the next big thing. But ultimately, Setanta Sports went bust in June 2009, and all of their channels shut down, so in that curious relationship between myself and sports networks, I guess you could call this a forgotten breakup. I might not be a big sports fan, but I am an extreme sports fan, and one channel that I always used to watch was the Extreme Sports channel. Starting in 2000, this channel was home to snowboarding, BMX, and my personal favourite, skateboarding. I've always been a big skating fan since the early Tony Hawk games. I even tried skating myself when I was a kid, and I have the permanent scar on my knee to show for it, so when I wasn't bailing all over the place, I used to spend my Saturday evenings watching this channel, and even though I never really heard anyone else talk about it, I thought it was awesome. Mainly I loved watching the X Games, especially the Big Air event. Seeing all those crazy jumps and tricks was amazing back then. Like, imagine doing this yourself. I'd have a heart attack in mid-air. In 2007, I actually remember watching when Jake Brown had that crazy fall. He was 45 feet in the air when he fell off his board. He slammed into the ground so hard, his shoes flew off, and somehow he still managed to get up and walk away from it. What a rager. I have a lot of fond memories of this channel from the Skate Rat days, and surprisingly, it lasted all the way up until February 2025, when it finally transitioned to streaming only. But, as far as I'm concerned, it'll always be extreme! When I got my first Freeview box in Christmas 2006, one channel I remember watching a lot was FTN. It was basically a showcase channel for the FlexTech television network, a TV service similar to Sky, which eventually turned into Virgin Media. Launched in January 2003, FTN mainly focused on repeats of game shows, almost like a budget version of Challenge. I think the one they showed the most was The Crystal Maze, one of the all-time great game shows, which I watched almost every day. This is one of those shows where you just wish you could have had a go yourself. It looked like so much fun, and the theme song was classic. Though one game show where I would have got destroyed is The Krypton Factor. Chalk up one more for classic theme songs. This used to be shown a lot in the evenings on FTN. It was a game show for total brainiacs who had to complete all kinds of mental and physical challenges, like putting together a complex 3D puzzle, answering questions based on a video, and passing a flight simulator test without crashing into a fiery wreck. My favourite part was the huge obstacle course, another thing where I just wanted to turn myself.
Taking his time over that, and Lawrence and the far side's come through well. He coped with that very nicely indeed, and I think he's about to snatch second place as Bob Davison makes a mistake there.
Like, who didn't want to have a go on that zip line? I'd probably have 8 stitches by the time I finished the course, but it still would have been fun. FTN ended up closing down in October 2007 to be replaced by Virgin One as their flagship TV channel for Virgin Media, only for that to end up closing down 4 years later in 2011. I guess this in itself was a fairly obscure TV channel, and they dropped a lot of the game show repeats in favour of showing obscure American TV dramas, like that Terminator show nobody talks about. Another channel that no one really mentions anymore is Living. This one launched an extremely long time ago in September 1993, and closed down in August 2018 as Sky Living, giving it quite a lifespan. It was mainly directed at a female audience, but somehow, I ended up watching this in the early 2000s as a bit of a guilty pleasure. By that time, I'd say Living focused mainly on what we would call trash TV. Like, it's hard to admit, but I used to tune in just to watch people beating each other senseless on Jerry Springer. I mean, there was no educational value whatsoever here, just pure idiocy. That's appalling, I apologise. One thing this channel became obsessed with was TV shows about psychics, otherwise known as professional con artists. Like Sixth Sense with Colin Fry, which was so beyond belief, I couldn't stop myself from watching it. In every episode, he'd start talking with a member of the audience and pretend he could communicate with the dead.
What does your grandfather mean when he says no more tequila? He's beginning to draw away from me. Okay. But he wants to say to you, just remember what he said. Everything is all right. His side and this side.
What a nut. It's funny, actually. Whenever I put this show on over my nan's house, she'd always make me change the channel. I guess because she thought it was blasphemous or something. Maybe she had a point. And you can't forget Most Haunted with Derek Acorah, who always pretended to be possessed by evil spirits. He was a right comedian, this one.
Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick.
Apparently, people get mad at this because it's fake, but come on, all of it's fake. How can you not laugh at this? I think it's one of the best comedy shows ever made. My favourite one is when he tries to attack the TV presenter.
Scuttle your legs.
Oh, will you now? Don't you like women?
See your breasts.
Yeah, don't you like women?
Wench.
You don't like women, do
You
you?
see your breasts.
Yes, I do, yeah.
Look at him struggle.
What's happened is that Derek sometimes gets possessed.
Derek sometimes gets possessed. I think that sums the show up. Moving on from demonic possessions, one of my mum's favourite channels was Sky Travel, a channel all about searching for your next big holiday. This one launched back in October 1994, but on some afternoons in the early 2000s, right when I was in the middle of enjoying my cartoons, Mum used to hog the remote so she could make notes for the family holiday, so I had to sit next to her on the sofa for hours until she made her mind up.
Here's a selection of the deals we have coming up for you. Choose from a week's self-catering in a Disney area villa, or 7 nights room only close to the heart of the action on International Drive.
That said, I eventually grew to like this. It was an optimistic, sunny channel. Everything about it was so positive. Like no matter where you booked your holiday, you'd always have a good time.
This water park has all the ingredients for a fun day out. The pool and beach area is a big draw for families, where you can make camp around some deck chairs while your kids enjoy the waves.
But naturally, booking your holiday over the internet became way more popular, so Sky Travel ended up losing viewers and shut down in June 2010, travelling back into the mystical world of lost TV channels. 2 stars down there, self-catering. I've talked about Cartoon Network a lot in my videos, and even some of the spin-off channels like Boomerang, but probably the most obscure spin-off channel was CNX, presumably meant to stand for Cartoon Network Extreme, which launched in October 2002. It concentrated mainly on action-adventure cartoons, sort of like a British Toonami. Indeed, it was meant to replace the Toonami block on Cartoon Network UK, which ended in mid-2002, but unusually, CNX was placed in the adult section of the Sky Guide instead of the kids section, which meant it took a bit of finding whenever I wanted to watch Batman of the Future or Samurai Jack.
Every day at 6 p.m. on CNX.
But despite the dark, edgy look, CNX just didn't catch on with an adult audience, and a lack of brand recognition, so it being transformed into a dedicated UK Toonami channel in September 2003, now moving back to the kids section of Sky, where it probably always belonged.
The only place to catch brand new episodes of Dragon Ball Z is CNX. Available on digital satellite channel 244 and digital cable channel 903. Every day at 5 p.m. Only on CNX.
Since it closed down in just under a year, I guess that leaves CNX as something of a weird science experiment. It's a mythical channel to me, like I can just barely retain my memory of it, thanks to catching some of these shows on the tail end of its lifespan. It might be on the cliff edge of memory loss, but somehow CNX has hung on all these years.
Stay tuned after the break for Courage the Cowardly Dog, and over on CNX, all new Samurai Jack.
For the grand finale, I'm throwing the craziest of the lost channels straight at your brain, the Game Network. If you remember this, you're a Nardog. Starting in September 1999, the Game Network was supposed to be the ultimate video game channel, with cheats, tips, walkthroughs, and all that lovely stuff from our favourite gaming magazines. And as a kid discovering the wonders of the PlayStation 2 back then, I found this channel on Sky and became obsessed with it. It felt like everything I ever wanted at that age, a guide to gaming itself. But by the early 2000s, the Game Network was a bit on the seedy side, with a lot of phone-in competitions and psychic hotlines, like ITV Play and Living merged together into one big unstoppable monster. It never felt like there was ever any decent gaming advice on offer, so I always stuck with my magazines. That said, one thing that I vividly recall is when the Game Network would show random videos of gameplay for new releases at the time, there was no real review or voiceover or anything, but one thing they did do is take out all the gameplay sound and replace it with early 2000s pop music.
Take a look, it's on display for you. Coming down on out today. Did you meet your fortune teller? Get it off with no propeller.
I know this is completely weird, but I have to be honest, I love this. It was always my favourite part of the channel, and at the time, it just felt like being immersed in the culture. Something about the music made me pretty hyped to play some of these games, even when I didn't know a thing about them. It's kind of classic. The Game Network didn't last much longer after this though, closing down in February 2006. The channel might not have left much of an impression on gaming culture, but that style left a tiny bit of a soft spot for me. I tapped my PS2 controller to it. So that was a selection of my favourite lost TV channels, but I know there are plenty more out there, so if you had a lost TV channel you loved watching back in the glory days, give it a shout out in the comments, and I'll stick it on the list for a future video. Later, dudes.